When the NYPD scuba team arrive, they find a scene of chaos. 7 boats, including a US Coast Guard vessel, are pulling people off the rafts and wings. But there are also people struggling to stay afloat in the freezing water. A passenger captures the helicopter's arrival on his mobile phone.
I remember climbing up the ladder as the helicopter showed up, and it was kicking up spray and dust, and I just remember thinking, you know, here I am climbing up this ladder, and the wind shear from this helicopter is going to drop me into the river.
When we got down lower to the water, we saw that one victim in the water, and I said, that's who needs the immediate help. That's the person that we have to get to first. And I knew that I can get to her much faster if I didn't have a tank on.
Mike just gestured to me. He goes like this. He made the split-second decision to take off his gear, and we collaborated and decided one with, one without.
In the crush around the sinking plane, the helicopter can't get lower than 20 feet. Ordinarily too high for the scuba divers to jump.
There's a lot of things going through your head, but the one priority is getting in that water as fast as I can and getting to that victim.
Detective Delaney knows that if he delays, the woman could drown. He makes an instant decision.
Detective Delaney went in first, and he took off.
Detective Rodriguez follows his teammate into the water.
We swam up to her from the side or the back, and she was in a bit of a panic. She was frightened. I told her to let go of the net. You're gonna have to trust me. And she then thought that the ferry boat was gonna roll over us or you know, run us over.
We both swim her over to the closest platform, which is a rescue ladder with a platform that one of the ferry boats deployed. Now she's taken care of. And now, you know, the mode turned towards the plane. We got to get to the plane. We're at this point, we're thinking there's definitely victims inside.
As the divers continue their search, Rob Collegier is safely on a ferry. But he has been separated from his son, Jeff, ever since boarding the plane.
I still hadn't seen my son yet. Your mind plays funny games with you. And I start seeing my son as a little toddler again. Things go through your mind that I'll never see him again. Life ended too early for this kid.
The plane is now just 13 minutes away from sinking. The rescue effort to save the passengers of Flight 1549 has been underway for 12 minutes. The rescuers don't know it, but they've only got another 13 minutes to get everyone out of the water before the plane starts to slip below the surface. And there may still be victims inside.
I entered the plane from the wings emergency exit windows, and I made my way very slowly. I finally make it to the center aisle after moving away some luggage. And at that point, I hear my partner screaming, "Get out of the aircraft." I told him to wait a minute. I took a good clean look, ducked my head underwater a bit, felt around, didn't feel anything. I hear him screaming again, and he says, "Get out, get out." And he makes a motion like that, and I didn't argue with him. I get out of the aircraft. He saw a shift in the airplane, and he saw the water line going above some of the headrest in the aft part of the aircraft. So that was it was a good call.
3:55 p.m., 25 minutes after crash landing on the Hudson, half the plane's cabin is now submerged. Carlisle Lucas, captain of the ferry Athena, pulls alongside the life raft, carrying Captain Sullenberger.
The pilot, he was the last man out, and he came up and sat down in the upstairs cabin here on the boat. And then I asked him, you know, do you think everyone got out of the airplane? He said, I went down the aisle twice and looked in every seat because everyone's off that airplane.
Shocked passengers are ferried to the harbour side. Rob Cullejay is among them.
I'll always remember one policeman coming over to me and asked me how are you? Why are you crying? I said, I don't know if my son's alive. More and more police officers were coming up to me and asking me, what did he look like? What did he have on?
As police search for his son, Jeff, Rob is recuperating at a temporary aid station on the New Jersey side of the river. It's almost 4 hours since Rob last saw his son. He is beginning to lose hope when suddenly there is a phone call. As Rob awaited rescue on the left wing, Jeff made it into a life raft on the other side.
We're alive. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it because I had just nightmares of like twisted metal and going underneath the water and just everything.
Father and son are finally reunited.
We just shared a big hug, and it was just really a cool feeling.
Very emotional. He's saying, Dad, please, don't cry, don't cry.
Didn't want to let go, and just told each other we loved each other, and just couldn't believe that what just happened.
The odds of surviving something like that were a bazillion to one.
An investigation into the crash is underway and has confirmed that the impact caused a breach in the plane's rear bulkhead. What is not in question is the scale of Captain Chesley Sullenberger's achievement. The outcome of Flight 1549 could have been very different.
There are so many things that could have gone wrong that went perfectly right in this specific instance.
Flight 1549's double bird strike occurred at 3,200 feet. Most bird strikes occur at under 500 feet. A sudden power loss in both engines at that height would have given Flight 1549's pilots less than 30 seconds to react, resulting in almost certain disaster.
This is simply one of those circumstances where you don't want to run out of altitude, airspeed, and ideas simultaneously.
Captain Sullenberger knew that he had to bring the aircraft down tail first, at an angle of 11 degrees. Any steeper, and the fuselage would have hit the water too hard, causing the plane to break up, with fatal consequences. But speed was also critical.
There was very, very little margin for error. If he would have run out of airspeed at 100 feet, it could have been catastrophic.
Captain Sullenberger must touch down at no less than 130 knots, or risk a fatal stall.
Terrain ahead.
If his airspeed falls too low, the only way to increase it is to drop the nose. But that would risk the engines hitting the water first, causing violent deceleration that could tear the aircraft apart. The passengers who survived Flight 1549 are already finding that the crash has changed their lives in unexpected ways.
I know there's other things I'm supposed to do with my life, and I think there's 154 other people that also have something that they're supposed to do with their life.
I see it as a second chance for life. My husband and I are adopting. We've signed up with an agency to adopt a baby.
I've questioned everything now. You know, is this the type of work I'm supposed to be doing? You know, is this, there's so many things that you can't help but to question and wonder what's next.
Enjoy life. Live for today. Don't live for tomorrow. My life has been touched by a miracle, so I have to give back some sort of, to something.
I was supposed to be a dead man. I try to get up every morning and look at my wife differently, hug my kids differently.
I wanted to get home and see my family, and I flew home. I remember I paid attention to the safety instructions. I just kind of sat there, and every time I thought about it, I just kind of smiled. I was like, I was in a plane crash. And, you know, you're emotionally just like, it can't happen twice.
There's a storm brewing in post-war England this Saturday on 4. Imelda Staunton stars in the BAFTA-winning Vera Drake. That's Saturday at 9. Next tonight, no money and no real clue. Gordon's off to California for Ramsey's Kitchen Nightmares, USA.